You know those install videos on YouTube that make everything look easy? This is not one of those. Yeah. So I picked up a truck about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've only been able to do one really minor modification, and it was actually just very cosmetic. It's just an emblem on the stock grille. But this is my first Tacoma, and today I'm going to install something called the DMM, which is the dashboard multi-mount, and I'm going to take you guys through the installation process right now. What we're installing is going to go in this area. So the first step is gently yanking on the corner here to release some pins, maybe not so gently. So I'm ready to install the Taco Garage dashboard multi-mount, which is basically just this piece of metal on top of this plastic dash piece. Now, I've never done this before, but I did watch 3 YouTube videos, so I'm an expert. My diploma hasn't arrived yet, but I'm officially an expert. On the inside of one of these tabs, I may have to use a Dremel or an X-Acto blade, but I'm going to use a Dremel because I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and an X-Acto blade's not going to be perfect. Anyway, I'm going to drill a little hole, notch out a little section of one of the inside plastic clips here. And basically, hopefully not screw it up too bad. You clamp down this insert as best you can, and it looks like it's pretty good. I'm just trying to make sure that it's pressed up as far as possible against the little ledge on the back side of the dash piece. And it looks like it's pretty good to go. So now I just got to drill a bunch of holes. Now they said to use a number 10 drill bit, which I don't know what the hell that is, so I'm going to use a 3/16 drill bit, which seems to be what's going to fit here quite well. I'm a little clumsy. I'm just going to get that out of the way, and I'm probably going to screw this up, but I'm going to pretend like I know what I'm doing, and we'll just go from there, and I'll edit out anything that I do that's egregiously terrible. I also forgot to bring the correct pliers and or channel locks or crescent wrench, but I have this gigantic one here. It's actually what I use on the oxygen tanks in the back of the shop. Great for industrial use. I don't know that it's going to fit in here, but I have a ton of inappropriately small pliers in the back of the shop because I'm a jeweler, and we have all kinds of little miniature things. So maybe I'll be able to use something there. Otherwise, I'm going to waste another half an hour of my day and run back to my house, and we'll get the proper tool for the job. But for right now, I think we're just going to dig in. And I think what I'm supposed to do first is drill out those holes, if I recall correctly. Now again, I might screw this up totally, but we're going to find out. On the top of this dash mount thing, on the top of this, a couple of the holes have countersinks in them, and that is for the screws that they provide. And those, basically those are going to lie flush in in those holes. The ones that are not countersunk are specifically for these 1-inch balls. They provide you a real long bolt here, which would go on the top of the ball, and then this would go through that hole, and then once you torque it down, it should be good. We're going to find out, and let's go. How bad can this be? All right, those we definitely need to drill. All right, we're going to go real slow. Going to take about 2 years to do it that slow. So if I count correctly here, there's I don't know, like 700 holes to drill. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll probably make the video like fast forward during this shit, because it's going to take literally forever if we go this slow. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so now there's going to be a mess on whatever work surface you guys use, and if you have obsessive compulsive disorder like me, you're going to have to clean between this step and the next step. So let's just do that now. Oh, I think the next step is, I don't know what the next step is. I think it's putting in screws. I saw someone putting in like screws to hold down the center section in order to like stabilize it. I think. I don't know. We're gonna try. We're gonna put on these things. So these are the back plate brackets, and I think they just slide in. Maybe I should have watched more than 3 videos. Okay, I totally missed a step. All right, what the next thing you're supposed to do is take something like an X-Acto knife and clean the back surface. On the inside here, basically what's happening is I'm getting some flashing from where I just drilled, so it's just like plastic shards, and I just want to like get rid of those so these little metal plates will sit flush. All right, super pro. Okay, so the next step, seriously, I feel myself getting anxiety with all this debris all over my desk. Okay, so the next step, all right, I definitely have to clean. All right, the next step is going to be putting in one of the center brackets. I remember that. Putting in one of the center brackets and just kind of using something like these bolts, the real long bolts, just temporarily using those to kind of hold the multi-mount in place. So I've put one in. That's it, I've put one in. I don't know where the other one is. All right, that doesn't seem to do a goddamn thing. All right. Disregard everything I just said. And the next step is not going to be to do that. This should just go together very simply. This is like plug and play, right? All right, I'm going to put in the last piece, the end piece, because I definitely drilled holes there. And I'm going to take one of these, not those. I'm going to take one of the, what the fuck? Why do some of these things have little teeny tiny, fuck, I don't have an Allen head that small. What the fuck? All right. I think, so it appears that Taco Garage gives you a couple of these screws that have hex heads on the inside. I guess Allen heads, star heads, Allen heads, some kind of screw that you just, no, that doesn't do a fucking thing. Does it? Does it lock it in place? Let's find out. Yes. So it appears that they give you 4 separate metal plates that go on the back side to offer some support and rigidity to the top mount piece. And they give you a couple of screws, just looks like I think 2, that have an Allen head fitted to the, or drilled into the, not drilled, milled, cast. I don't know what process they use to make these, but nevertheless they have an Allen head on the inside of the screw. And I think you just basically use those to help align the bracket and the top piece. And if you put a couple of them in, like I've done here, I've already done one on this side and one on this side. If you put those in, it'll kind of help make sure that the new metal plate that you're fitting sits where it's supposed to sit. But then it appears that you put these totally flush mounted screws through both the dash, the trim, the dash, the plate, and the bottom plate. I don't know if any of this is going to drill through. Fuck. And they make this look so fucking easy on TV, but you know, this is like totally above my pay grade. Drill that hole slightly bigger. All right. All right, I got one in. Now we're going to try to get the other one in. Okay. Take note. Leave your drill out because you're definitely going to need it. Even the slightest bit of flashing that gets caught in there will impede you from inserting these flush-mounted bolts. Once you put them in, they do align totally flush with the top of the multi-mount. And then what you're left with on the bottom is just a protruding screw. And they give you a lock washer, which you're going to put on there, and then just a bolt, that not a bolt, a nut that you're going to screw on as tight as you can go by hand, I guess, first. And then we're going to, again, like I said, we're going to use the wrong tool for the job, but either my gigantic crescent wrench or something from the back, which we'll get out in a second. But at least for right now, we're going to screw these. Yeah, if we don't lose it, we're going to screw this. Okay. For fuck's sake! How far could that thing have rolled? Seriously. This is why I am not cut out for this type of work. Because I'm clumsy as shit. Like, this is a joke. Okay. I'm back. If you have fumble fingers like I do, I would recommend having like just invite a friend over who's like very mechanically inclined and just like pretend like you're going to do this job with them together, and then just pretend to go get a beer or something while they're doing it. And this will probably only take them just a few minutes if they're like less clumsy than I am. And then you can like say that you did it yourself, which is always really why we do these sort of things, right? It's just to tell people that we did it ourselves. Okay, so I guess we have one piece on. We're going to put the end piece on right now. We're going to see if we can get that aligned up with these temporary screws, and also known as spare parts. And then we're going to insert, keep that drill handy like I said. Uh-oh. Let's try that again. Aha! There we go. All right. Perfect. There we go. Now this is the one that they were talking about. Okay, so I've already hit another stumbling block. There's a tab on this side that's going to need to be notched out a little bit. Otherwise, this is going to be nearly impossible to thread on to that screw. So I'm going to back that screw out entirely, and we're going to attempt to Dremel that little piece out. You know how like sometimes things seem to be going easy and then they suddenly are not easy anymore? This is one of those times. So basically I'm just putting lock washers and little nuts on the end of these screws, and then I'm going to attempt to tighten them down with this gigantic crescent wrench. Alright, I mean I probably could get this done this way, but this is painfully slow. Yeah, we're not going to even attempt that. Alright, so we are going to continue to screw these down. We'll just go on to manually screw them down by hand, and then we're just going to work our way down the line here. Some of these little inside pieces are slightly bent, so I'm just going to try to torque them as flat as possible. I wouldn't be afraid to bend these too much anyway, because these are pretty thick plate steel. maybe not steel. And like I said before, keep that drill handy. You're definitely going to need it here. It's weird. Well, they forgot to countersink one of these holes. That's fucking annoying as shit. Okay, so there appears to be a factory defect, which is totally okay. I mean, I can figure out how to recover this. But on this piece, this has a factory countersunk hole. This one over here, I believe, is also supposed to have a countersunk hole, and I say that because there's a hole for it on the plate. So that's a little annoying, a lot annoying, but I'm just trying to be polite. So now I have to countersink that hole. But again, YouTube expert. This hole is supposed to have a countersink in it, but it doesn't, because on the back side of it, there is a spot for a bolt and a nut, I guess, to go through. All right, so what I have decided to do is countersink this myself, since nobody from Taco Garage has called me back. Oh, perfect. All right. I mean, it would have been nice if it came from the factory that way, but, you know, sometimes shit happens. I'm sure that the guys at Taco Garage did not intend for that to happen, so we're going to let it slide. I'm just going to use this 3/8 inch ratcheting wrench and tighten down those bolts. You may find that if you tighten them in the correct direction, that may help. I spent the first at least minute and a half tightening them in the wrong direction, also known as loosening. Now the ones that have that particularly tight cutout where I dremeled out that section, those you might not be able to do with a ratcheting wrench. You might have to go in there and just kind of manually turn these a little at a time. Definitely a pain in the ass. Yay! All right, so I sort of feel like mission accomplished in that I got everything set up here, and I'm just walking back to the shop, and then we'll go up into the garage, and I'll probably pull it outside because the light pretty much sucks right now. Now we're gonna do the last bit of the install. We're just gonna pop this on to the dashboard. Let's see if these clip in. Perfect. So this is what it looks like totally installed, and I have a mag mount here. So all you need is basically to put a metal plate on the back of your phone or whatever device you want, and it'll stick up here. And then that's the X grip from Ram Mounts. Well, I certainly hope that you guys enjoyed watching that a little bit more than I enjoyed assembling it. If so, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.